How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, we talked about this a bit last week, but now that you're kind of in it, just your thoughts on this sort of 4 week stretch here, where you guys kind of play one game a week. You're all at home, no travel. Just how important is this stretch to kind of become the team that you want to become?
Yeah, it's huge because our guys they needed a little bit of a break, from traveling and obviously from the MTE down in Palm Springs. We packed a lot of games in early, which we wanted to do on purpose because we needed to get time on the court, to see what these guys could do. But it is nice, obviously, you do have finals week, all last week too, which takes up a lot of their times, and we had to take 2 days off, which they needed it, and our staff needed it too. To kind of get away from each other for a little bit and kind of build. But, now it's on. Obviously, with Washington State and Seattle U before Christmas, and then we have NJIT, and then you're right back in the league. And so pretty much from here on out, there's no breaks. Even at Christmas, we'll get, the 24th, 25th, and, we'll practice the night of the 26th. But it's good to, to get a little more practice time. Instead of kind of 2 days between games, like to have 3 or 4, sometimes helps, scouting wise. And we still have a lot to improve on ourselves, and that's what we've done mostly, working on ourselves rather than the teams we're playing.
Do you think you'll finalize maybe things in terms of their rotation before you start conference play, or do you think that's still going to be a year-long type of a deal?
I hope so. Yeah, I really do. I hope guys step up and really take those spots, because it's hard to coach when you don't know the rotation, when you don't know who's going to show up, and we need some consistency, and some of those guys got to separate themselves, which I think it's happened organically a little bit, but there's still, we need more separation. We need guys to we still need guys to play better.
And think just your thoughts on this game on Wednesday. You talked a bit about kind of remember going back to your press conference, and sort of you made a point of not being from Pullman, And
I was born in Pullman, and I love Pullman. I got no problem with Pullman, but I've always been a Husky, and it was kind of a joke because my dad, when he was coaching at University of Idaho at the time, and it was the only hospital, and that's how I was. It's 3 miles from Moscow, and at the time, so. But it's fun.
But by saying that, it just felt like you got the sense of what this rivalry is all about. Just how important was it for you to keep this game on the schedule, to keep it going, and just your sort of thoughts on this?
Yeah, to be truthful, it's a rivalry. It wasn't that important to me to keep it on the schedule. It's important to a lot of other people. They're good. They've always been good. It's going to be a really tough game. It'll probably be one of the, it might be the best offensive team we played so far this year. They're really, really talented offensively and obviously defensively. You look at some of their wins, but no, it'll be great. To get them here and then obviously go back next year. The only thing that is bad is they're not in our league anymore, and obviously with them going to the WCC, and they'll be great there.
Hey, you talk about you're still not fully set on any of your rotations and what be it, and with more practices and games coming up, how much during this point in the season can players separate themselves in practice, or is it really only those game minutes that are going to cause you to tinker with the lineup? And
Yeah, no, it's both. It's both, and you never know. Knock on wood, there's always tweaked ankles here and there. There's guys getting sick, and all of a sudden some guy steps up, and has a game like Makai did the other day, and now he needs to catapult that and play great again on Wednesday, because he had some really good moments even in Palm Springs, and he's been playing better, and and I'm proud of him for that. But we need, we can't have Makai play great and the other 4 guys combined for 3 for 30 shooting. You can't do that. We have to have more than one guy step up per night, and that's when we'll start being the best team we can be.
And then after the game, you mentioned you need DJ Davis to shoot the ball more.
Yeah.
When he puts 0 shots up against Eastern Washington, do you think that's related to confidence? And if it is so, how do you kind of approach that as a coach, or whatever you think the issue might be with why he's not shooting?
With shooters, I just let him shoot. I don't want it to become a mental deal. He's got to make more shots, period. I don't know how to, you got to make shots. That's why he's here. So.
I know you weren't pleased after the USC game, more pleased after the Eastern game. Getting that game right after USC was probably a big help to get the confidence back. But now having this time off, how do you balance the time off and getting some rest from the time off and getting rusty?
Yeah. Like I said, we had to take, we took 2 days off last week, which they needed. Then obviously, like, we had kind of a run and shoot practice that we do always during finals where, just a lot of conditioning and a lot of shooting skill work. And then yesterday was really, Friday we did, had a pretty good practice, and then yesterday took Saturday off. And then we have, obviously, today and tomorrow to ratchet it up and really focus in on our scouting and how we want to guard them and things that we have to do to be successful on Wednesday.
You say that Washington State might be the best offensive team
Yeah, they're
you're
really
going to
good.
play so
Yeah.
far. And I know there are a lot of times where you haven't been happy with the defense and on-the-ball defense. How much of playing the defense like you want to play is being talented enough as opposed to desire, want to, and being coached?
It's everything. Like, to anybody that plays good defense, like, you got to want to do it. Like, it's not easy to close out and keep guys in front and chest up and do the tough, the little things that win, at the end of the day. And, like, I'll go back to the USC game. As good as they shot the basketball, they were just as good defensively. Our guards couldn't get by them. That's a problem. And so we have to do that. We have to be able to keep guys in front of us. And we've really challenged our guards. We have to get better at that. Sometimes we're either getting blown by or we're giving up. We're closing out with bad angles. And we do closeout drills every day. So there's not an excuse for it. They're all athletic enough to do it. Now it's really having that focus and that mindset of that's how we're going to win games or continue to win games. Like I said, we are 7-3 or 6-3. I don't know what our record is. I don't know how many games. What are we? 6-3, 7-3? 7-3. And so, like I said, I don't care about anything but the next one. So but we have to continue to get better. And Washington State's going to really, really challenge us at every single spot. They're extremely skilled. They've all played together. They've added some pieces. Obviously, Nate, that played here last year, has been phenomenal, and he'll be one of the hardest, point guards to guard that we played to date. But the rest of their team, they've been together for a couple years. They know their offense. They move to basketball. They're highly intelligent, and they shoot the mess out of it. And that's why they're really hard to guard.
A conversation I was having, somebody was asking about your competitiveness, and I told them to go watch the video of you hitting mid-court shots. You weren't just throwing them up; you were throwing them up to win.
Oh yeah, you got to.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was all about?
Well, yeah, we do half court shots, before every game, right at the end of shoot around, and the only reason I was able to shoot more than one was because we had a couple coaches injured, and so I actually took their shots. But yeah, no, I'm trying to make them all just like they are.
Hey, just how is this Washington State team different without Cedric? I mean, he's obviously was a big part of that team.
Yeah, it shows how good they are. Look at what they're doing without him. They've beaten, Missouri State, Nevada, Boise, all on the road, other than Missouri State. They're tremendous. I know how I played against Cedric. I played against a lot of these guys when they were at Eastern Washington, so I know how good they are. But they just do what they do. They're one of the most efficient teams. They move to basketball. Their spacing is tremendous. And their spacing is really good because they do shoot the ball so well. You have to guard all their guys, but the one thing that I think is underrated is they all post you up. They'll send their two guard down there and post you up, and they'll be staggering for a five-man Price or Eichstrup out of the corner. Usually fives aren't used to running off double staggers and chasing guys. And so that's where their offense is, it's really new age basketball. It is like they got five guys on the floor that can shoot the basketball. And, but at the kind of meat and potatoes, they're still going to post you up, all of them.
Do you have much of a relationship or a pass with David? Because that's basically his offense that, like, he ran at Eastern, and that's kind of what he does. Do you guys go back at all?
Yeah.
Do you know?
No, like I said, really happy he got that job, very deserving of it too. He did a tremendous job at Eastern, but even when he was an assistant there with Shante Leggins, they've always ran that system. And it's a phenomenal system. And it's really hard to guard, but yeah, I've obviously, followed them even last year when I wasn't the Big Sky, but he's one of the best offensive minds I've coached against. And, I think the WCC is going to find out how good he is too, because I think he's one of the best in the country. I really do.
have like fans or maybe told you, or do you have a sense as to maybe how important this game is to them? I mean, like, for like you, granted, it's another game to get better, and maybe you want to schedule it or not. But for a lot of people, like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can lose to Pepperdine, or you can lose to some team from California, but losing to Wazoo kind of feels a little different. To
Oh
some
yeah,
folks, right?
no, and that's the best thing about having like in-state rivalries. I mean, it's the same at Montana and Montana State. Like that's what's fun. Like that's why you come to some of these schools is to play against those teams. And so I know how important it is to the fans. We've been trying to get that across to our players, just like they are. But I know the place will hopefully be rocking, and hopefully there'll be more purple than crimson in there.
Is it harder to? I'm sorry. And is it harder to like get that across in this new day and age of sort of college sports where the turnover is so great and like
Yeah.
there's just not that same connection as it was in the past?
Probably. I mean, just that's probably the truthful answer. Like when you've been at a school for 4 years or you like grew up a Husky, it's different. But if you've just been here for 2-3 months, and you don't have that same hatred for them or like they have for us. And so like you have to develop that into your guys, and you have to make sure they know how important it is to the alumni, to the former players, to the former coaches, to all the Husky fans. And and that's what we've tried to do.
Getting a text in my ear. But we talked about the offense, and you said, not having the true point guard is why the offense tends to get clunky once in a while. Can you talk a little bit
There's
about
a lot of reasons it's clunky, but that's one of them.
Can you talk a little bit about progressing with that and what you're able to do with the guys that you have to improve that playmaking ability out at the top?
Yeah, and everybody's kind of got to be more of a playmaker. Sometimes we go just an extra dribble too far instead of just getting rid of the basketball. Like we're trying to do too much, and we're dribbling into space where guys are stripping the ball. Like we lose the ball more than any team I've ever seen or coached. Like we'll just drive and lose the ball. We have to get better at that. We have to know when I'm driving into a crowd, like just get rid of the basketball, just make the easy play. And I know our guys, their hearts are in the right place. Like their intention, like they're trying to make something happen instead of just making the easy play. And then we'll get a cleaner shot. And then hopefully we'll shoot a higher percentage. But I think that's probably been the one thing is not just point guard play, but we have to get playmakers at the 2 spot, the 3 spot. Like our guards all have to be, de facto point guards.
With Frank gone, you don't have the rim protection
Mm-hmm.
you do when he's there. And I know that one of the keys is not having to have the rim protection by keeping the guys in front of you and not letting them go by you. What else can you do to kind of compensate and help with that?
I think just kind of change defenses, which we've tried. We tried, some 1-3-1, some 2-3 zone, some man. I mean, we're gonna have to continue to do that because we can't give people a steady dose, of just man or just 1-3-1 and things like that. And so, we have to just, we have to still, we call it guarding our yard. Like we have to make people make contested jump shots, and if they do, congratulations. We just have to hope they don't do that for 40 minutes. And hopefully that'll give us a better chance to rebound the basketball and get out and run. Because the times we've been the best, like Palm Springs for sure, is when we're getting stops and our guards are getting in and we're running and getting pitch aheads, like that's when we're at our best.
And the defenses, you named 3 of them that you play, two zones and a man. What do you think your players are best at, and what do you think they're most confident in?
Yeah, I think at times, they're probably most confident in our man, and we've had some really good moments, where our man defense has been really good, and like you said, without Frank and some bigs, like sometimes it does get hard against different teams or lineups, but even at the end of the day, like I feel like our guys are since Palm Springs, like we've played harder, obviously except for a couple games, or one game for sure, but. I feel like our guys are scrapping and they're making teams score over us, which is why we're 7-3. But if we want to keep winning, we have to continue to get a lot better.
It's getting closer to January. Are you seeing that progression with Frank at all?
Yeah. He, obviously his rehab's going good, and like I said, it was kind of just a minor cleanup. It wasn't anything serious. So hopefully, the first couple weeks of January, hopefully.
And like, is he back to the point where he's able to get on the court yet, or
No, he's not yet. Yeah.
Tony, capture cone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, for the big show.
Oh yeah, the big show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like I said, we got our hands full. With Washington State, they've obviously, what are they, 9-2? And they played a really good schedule and beating some really good teams. So making 10 threes a game, and we have to make sure we limit that, for sure, to keep up. Awesome.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thank you guys.